Alright, hello everyone and welcome to AEW Discussion. I'm your host and AEW enthusiast Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing Dynamite, February 1st, 2023 episode. In this episode of Dynamite, well, it was main evented by Darby Allin defending the TNT Title in a no-holds-barred match against Samoa Joe. Man, what a match that was. Also, Danielson continued his journey onto Revolution into that Iron Man match against MJF. So, you knew it was going to be a pretty, it was going to be a pretty solid episode of Dynamite for the most part. Also, Revolution is coming up in March. I don't remember what day. AEW didn't really do much to address it this episode, but I think we can expect the activity in regards to that to be picking up relatively soon. And with that, we'll go ahead and get right into the action, starting with Hangman Adam Page versus Jon Moxley. So from the free match brawl to the physicality that ensued once the bell rang, this felt like a grudge match between two guys who do not like each other. The occasional confidence of Page and the toughness on display by Moxley helped to define this match, but it was a finish that saw Moxley out-wrestle Page and also play up the influence from the Blackpool Combat Club. The hostility between the competitors after the match suggests that this feud is not over, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, although really this third match between them should have been the conclusion of this feud. But I think so long as you call it good after match 4, I think that can be forgiven. Given the brief interaction between Page and Claudio Castagnoli, perhaps AEW might want to consider booking that match before going back to Hangman and Moxley. Takeshita versus Brian Cage, and this match was further evidence of Takeshita's potential as a future star in AEW. The Japanese competitor has proven himself against top stars whose abilities have matched all of his own in-ring style, but rarely has he had to fight from underneath against a traditional powerhouse like Cage. That the machine is an uber athlete and can do things others' sides cannot, added to their chemistry. But the match was also evidence of Takeshita's ability to adapt to his opponent and deliver up to expectations, which for him, there certainly are some high expectations for him, which, certainly understandable. Good stuff from both men, who are on a bit of a surge early on in 2023. Granted, they haven't necessarily been on the winning end, per se. I think they might have, but I think even just getting them on TV and giving them some time to perform is still a step in the right direction. The wins will come eventually. Takeshita with this win gets a match. The win didn't set up the match, but after a backstage brawl with MJF, he now has a match against the AEW World Champion in a World Title Eliminator match. So things continuing to go up for Takeshita. Bryan Danielson versus Timothy Thatcher. So got to performance from Danielson here, who sold everything Thatcher threw at him and reinforced the idea that he needed this win in order to continue his quest for an Iron Man match against MJF. Thatcher looked like a beast in this match, and the commentary team, which has been red hot this week, put him over as a threat. I think they did a really good job introducing him to the audience in case people weren't overly familiar with him. I remember Timothy Thatcher from his days in NXT, so I was glad to see him back on TV competing again. And truth be told, when it comes to Bryan Danielson, there's probably no such thing as a bad Danielson match at this point, and the contest for next week against Rush probably won't change that trend. And it's hard for us, now granted it will be hard for us for those two to eclipse what Danielson and Thatcher did in this physical encounter, but should still be just as good. But yeah, Danielson certainly selling that desperation kind of gives you the sense that maybe his quest that he might come up short seems unlikely, but it feels like a possibility, and I think that's the most important thing with this journey here. And then the show concludes with a no-holds-barred match for the TNT Title, Darby Allin versus Samoa Joe. And in the end, Joe would plant Allin off the ropes and onto the exposed wood of the ring with a muscle buster that would end Allin's reign as the champion. Joe, didn't get much time to celebrate as Wardlow would make his return, sporting a new haircut after having his ponytail cut by Joe. And I liked the hairstyle before with the ponytail. But to be honest, I like this new hairstyle even better too. It's a new look, and it looks very good. Joe, was able to escape relatively unscathed while managing to duck out of a powerbomb. But Wardlow, the security though, they didn't really get by unscathed. Wardlow's light out security to end the show. Overall, this match and the post-match, great overall. This AEW overdo it with the blood, probably. Although I feel like the way they kind of set it up with with Moxley and Joe, and the way it made sense, but probably don't need to do it as much. You could probably dial back a bit. Are the hardcore matches overproduced with risk and stakes amplified to the potential detriment of the wrestler's safety? Probably. Again, I think that's another thing that you can probably tone back a little bit. Get rid of the thumbtacks, which I don't know why that's a staple, but you can go ahead and get rid of that. And maybe less bumps. It doesn't need to be long overproduced with a bunch of extreme spots. Like, we don't need a guy going over a guardrail on some stairs and landing on his head. We don't need that. Nor do we need people getting cut open by tables or going through tables. Well, I mean, one table's fine, but let's not overdo it. Nonetheless, with the right competitors and the right story, it can be effective. And that was the case here. Allen, outmatched in about every way by Joe, tried to rely on his unpredictability and willingness to endure punishment in this match, but that did not work, as Joe would turn it against him and just beat him, basically. And it's the book, it was overall just simple, and it hammered home the relentlessness of the Samoan submission machine. The impending rematch of Wardlow should be a good brawl between those two, and it also makes for a solid secondary title belt for the Revolution pay-per-view, if that is the direction Tony Khan wants to head in. Hopefully, if it is in the cards for Wardlow to beat Joe, hopefully that can help rehabilitate Wardlow on his comeback here, as he lost quite a bit of momentum after he beat MJF at Double or Nothing, and then also losing the title to Joe and last year. So good way to kind of get him back on track, beating Joe and winning the TNT title. Don't really like the hot potato with the title here, but ultimately, if Wardlow takes it and things kind of settle down after that, then it's okay. And with that, we're going to wrap up this episode of AEW Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.